Now, I've got no doubt that Freo is the sleeping giant of the competition, and come September, they're going to play a big role. I know you've been keeping a close eye on, particularly in recent weeks, Dicko. A couple of things that you can show us.
No doubt about that, Jason. As I come over to the screen, one thing about Fremantle, a bit of a criticism about kicking goals. Last 2 weeks, 24 and 20. So, and the spread of goal kickers has been 15 and obviously 12. Just down on the floor here, we'll have a look at this. And as you can see here, Fremantle's pressure. They've got 3-on-3, but it's the way they push it back. They want the frontal pressure and just get it and push it as much as they possibly can. Here we go. This is when they hunt. They kept their width, but when they pounce, they pounce. Ball's always moving in their direction. One thing about GWS, it's a great learning curve for them. This is how the pressure applies, and they get a number of goals this year. They use their speed going back to goal, but it was the width they held. One at the ball, one at the receiver.
And that was their first possession too, was inside forward 50 for them. So they just kept pushing back, and then De Boer wins the hard ball, which was a fantastic win by him. 5 kicks to goal.
It's a big work rate thing too, because if you look at that clip that you just showed us, they had more numbers running forward to put pressure on than the Giants actually had getting behind the footy to bring it out of defence.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's really a big tick for their work rate.
Well, yeah, manic defence, and that's what stands up in September. That's why I think they're a legitimate chance. Once they get their full squad back in, they can actually stand up in September and win the flag.
And we talk about pressure in terms of press, squeeze. We hear this terminology all the time. It's not just about being fanatical around the ball and hunting in packs, because one thing about it, it's all structure. It takes time. It's taken Hawthorn, Collingwood, Geelong, the like, taking them a lot of time to get it right. One thing about this, as we just pause it here, very important to keep your eye on the tackler here about to put pressure and this guy here. More importantly, as that's done it on my own, this is outstanding, this screen here. I actually do want to highlight this guy. Can he impact on that ball carrier? If he can't, he's got to take care of the receiver. One thing about the receiver, he's out here lateral to the contest. We'll just let it play. Can't impact that. He's got to hit that receiver early. That shuts him down. The only out they've got is the guy that he's left behind here. And one thing, it plays on, overlap kills your press and your defensive action. Stop. As we go here, this is crucial. This guy right in the middle at the front needs to corral him to the boundary line. Keep him on the boundary line because he knows the pressure's coming from behind. It's knowing your principles, but more importantly, knowing your teammates going to cover him, shut him down, slow him up.
If he doesn't corral him, he should at least stick the tackle. I mean, corralling's the very least he should be doing, isn't it?
Even if he does, you look where Garland's positioned there as a defender. If he keeps it to the boundary, Garland's on the right side then just for the quick kick in. He's got best defensive position on his direct opponent. And even the one behind him, McDonald on Pavlich, I think it is in good position to create a spoil if it is a quick kick in.
And one thing about the press and overlap, once you get through it or you get inside, this is danger for Melbourne. But it's something to learn, something they've got to really get better at. In terms of this, they've just got numbers forward, overlap run, and away they go. If that Melbourne player keeps him to the boundary side, they can win that ball back. Here, they've got no chance. Good pressure around the ball here. They're just hunting in packs. But Fremantle, good enough, clean enough to get it out, quick hands, and score a goal.
And you're spot on there, Dicko. And what we saw Jack Watts as one of the spare men in defence. He was there by himself, basically in the goal square, so he didn't impact the contest at all. The Freo handballed through the contest. There was another spare player at the top of the goal square that made it extremely hard to impact the contest as well. So there was 2 spare players for Melbourne, rather, that just didn't get anywhere near it.
Well, they did, and then, go, Jason. I'll just... Go, Jason. No, Josh, I looked at Hill, on that Stephen Hill, on that occasion, and he got the 2 back, which you're talking about, but then they just leave Stephen Hill run all the way down, all by himself, gets into a perfect spot, handball received, and it goes straight over their head.
But how long have we spoken about the Dockers as being the #1 defensive side? They can close a team down, they keep you to low scores, but as you said, Dicko, they now have an ability to score. And if you look at their work rate, their spread from stoppages and contests, it's very impressive, isn't it?
It is. 44 goals in the last 2 weeks. And as I said, their spread's been unbelievable. 15 and 12 goal kickers. We're just going to highlight here. On the spread here, as we can see, look at the gap here. We're just going to press this screen button, getting used to it here. As we go here, we've got Fremantle player, Melbourne player, and we've also got Fremantle player here, okay? So what we're going to do is let it run and just have a look at the spread and acceleration out of this stoppage as we go here. With a straight line. Look at the gap now. Incredible. Across here, way too much room, but it's across the board, Lynchy. Look at the width of the spread. That obviously generates space, but more importantly, doesn't allow any defensive action to come back and clog that up, because if you move quick and spread, they've just kicked millions of goals this year because of their speed and execution going forward.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where they're not reliant on Matthew Pavlich to kick big goals up forward. I think 2 weeks ago they had 15 goal kickers at Patterson Stadium. On the weekend against Melbourne they had 12 or 13 goal kickers as well, so there's a really good spread, but it's that principle. They work hard, and again, it's another lesson for Melbourne to defensively, you've got to make sure you turn on straight away.
Yeah, imagine if Pav finds form. Well, they will just go to another level.
Well, he's starting to look late in the games. He's just starting to work into the game. He had a pretty good game. He didn't have that massive impact that we normally expect, but he's working the game into the game beautifully. Dicko, you also took particular notice of one of their dynamic X factors, Hayden Ballantyne, and he's kicking at goal.
One thing, Lynchy, we were at the game on the weekend. He kicked 4 goals too. His misses to the right. I obviously went to the footage, and I mean, he's a great player and a great kick, no doubt about that. He misses this one right. We're going to go into a little bit more depth in a minute, but he's a pivotal part come September. He's kicked 27-24 for the year. We know what speed he's got. His goals in the weekend running back to goal, but it's his set shot routine, which he can just tidy, get a bit of polish. Bung, you love, obviously, the way he goes about it. But, as you know, we have a look here, boys. We'll just let this play until impact on the ball. And I suppose the best part to look at impact on ball is body position, OK? On his miss on the left, we'll just highlight this with a magnifying glass, just getting used to this, Jace. You can see the bend on the one, OK? So what he's looking for there, he's just got a little indecisive, Lynchy. He's just trying to guide that ball a little bit lower than he normally would.
And he's lost a bit of posture.
Lost the posture, hasn't stayed over the ball. He's just fell off it a little bit, missed the goal right. One thing about his points, he's kicked 24 for the year, and he's missed 14 right, so it's obviously a little bit of an issue for him at the moment. But then we have a look at this one. As straight as you can get, he's nice and balanced. The number 1 on his back's the great indicator. Kicked it straight through the middle, 6.5 each side.
When he's running in, he does move the ball a little bit side to side. I think the one he misses too is just a little bit more, and then he ends up chasing it. So I think he's chasing the drop, and therefore he's spraying him to the right.
He moves the body over. I reckon half of it is the drop. I mean, posture is trying to chase the ball on the bad drop.
He's one of the best forwards in the competition, but for some reason Chris Mayne continues to fly under the radar. Well, not anymore. Alistair Lynch has decided it's time to put the spotlight squarely upon the star Dockers forward.
When we're talking about elite forwards in the competition, not a lot of time is spent talking about the number 23 from Fremantle. Chris Mayne's career has just ticked over 100 games. He stands at 188 centimetres and weighs in at 87 kilos, averaging almost 1.5 goals per game. In 2013, Mayne has kicked 35 goals, 9 behinds. His accuracy at almost 80%. Of the top 50 goal kickers in the AFL, that's number 1. But more on that shortly. He also is top 5 in score assists, averages 4 tackles per game, elite for a forward. That's pretty good for any player, but for a key position player, he stands head and shoulders above the rest. Back to his goal kicking. If we put his scoring chart up, you will see that out of his total of 35 goals, 9 behinds, 32 goals, 7 have come from the corridor. Incredibly, he's taken all of his shots from inside 50, and most of those from right in front. Mayne, along with Pavlich, Ballantyne and Walters, make up a unique forward line that could take them deep into September. How far? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, vitally important player for the Fremantle Dockers, and one that'll have a big say in how far they go in September is Chris Mayne. Love his work rate, love how efficient he is, how effective he is in front of goal, and love the fact that he's prepared to do whatever it takes to contribute to the team effort, whether it's just creating space and movement, all those tackles, chases, pressures. He's a star.
Dicko, we watched him last week, didn't we, live, and it was fantastic just the way he starts it. He sets the tone for the rest of the team.
He does, and one thing about when Pavlich plays in the side, he goes up a level, so he gets the 2nd or 3rd best defender, so he just finds it hard.
Everything I'm hearing, he's immaculate in the way he prepares himself. So the diet, the preparation for training, recovery from training, trains that, I mean, you've got some players that don't train exactly at the highest level week in, week out. He's the hardest trainer there, and he's a great leader off the field. So he's leading the young kids in the right direction, both on and off the field. So he's a fantastic asset, and I think he's surprised a lot of people. I mean, people in the inner sanctum in football understand how good he is, but I'm sure we don't really appreciate how great he is as the guys in the coaching staff at Fremantle Dockers.